The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at wrestlingwithjohners.com.
Marcus, and welcome to another episode of Toilet Side Wrestling Talk. Today's guest hails from Levittown, New York, and trained at the Creative Pro Academy. He's worked for such promotions as Creative Pro, Blitzkrieg Pro, Beyond, Wrestle Pro, Chaotic Wrestling. He also worked in AEW Dark Match against Chuck Taylor. Shared the ring with the likes of Trish Adora, Willow Nightingale, Solo Darling, Brian Pillman Jr., VSK, Gary J, Love Doug, and I could go on. So let's welcome today's guest from the birthplace of stars, Long Island, New York. Perfection personified, the dime piece, Aaron Rourke. Hey, Aaron, how are you?
Good. How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. My big worry when I play like the highlights is that like when the highlights end, the person's going to tell me that wasn't them. I literally, when we were watching it, I'm like, no, it's 100% him. Let me just.
I know.
But anyways, do people ever call you Aaron O'Rourke?
Sometimes, and then they just cut the O out.
Yeah. Okay. So the robe that we saw you in, how many of those do you have?
Just one.
So like, do you have to keep it like in good, like constantly in good condition and safe away from things?
Yeah, I put it in a separate closet, but the good thing about sequins is that they don't get wrinkled. So
that's right.
I up and just put it in the closet, but I definitely keep it away from everything.
And is that expensive?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to know a price. Over $100?
Very much so.
Okay. Is that your most expensive piece of like ring gear?
Yes.
Okay. So how long did you make it?
No, I'm not.
Okay. You're not that talented. You're pretty talented, not that. So you have someone who made it for you?
Yes, Lori from No Gimmick Gear. She's based out of Brooklyn in New York. She makes a lot of gear for me and for people that like Chris Statlander, Max Caster, like a lot of names, and she's phenomenal and just amazing.
Yeah, that caught my eye right away. That's why I had to ask about it so I didn't forget. So this is what she does for a living.
She was she's a costume designer for like plays and shows, but she got into making wrestling gear, and then I saw her stuff and I was like, hey, I would love if you can make me some gear. And then we started talking about the robe, and she just knew exactly what I wanted. She's amazing.
That's awesome. Do you do you constantly have ideas like about your gear, like things you want? Would you carry like a notebook with you or anything?
It kind of just pops in my brain, and at work, I'm a waiter, so at work I'll just start scribbling on like the back of paper, and then I'll go to her and be like, I have this idea, I have this inspiration, and I'm not very artistically talented. So. Okay,
but she's able to translate that into her work.
Yes, she understands me very well.
So the makeup, or I don't know what you call it, on your face, do you do that yourself?
I do before every show.
I'm sorry if these questions seem like disjointed or strange.
Oh, I love these questions.
So, is it easy to take off as well?
It's easier to put on. It's not that hard to take off. It's just more tedious.
Okay. Have you ever forgotten to take it off?
No, because
okay.
The minute I come back, I just immediately.
Okay, you're trained to do that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. And you again, I don't want any numbers or anything. How does a wrestler get paid? Like, do you get paid prior to the event, after?
I'm gonna keep this as vague as possible.
Yeah, no, that's what I want. I don't want any nothing about you, just like in general.
You just kind of. I wonder what I can say about it because I don't want to cross any lines. But
yeah. But so do people people sometimes get paid beforehand, sometimes after?
Yeah, it just depends, I believe, on the person. Schedules and like who has to go where. But
sure.
Eventually.
Okay, getting back to the match that we saw the highlights from. Say I was a wrestler. I'm not, obviously. Do you treat your opponent the exact same regardless of gender? I know the size might be different at times, but do you have to go into your match differently at all, or is it just another wrestler across the ring from you when you're wrestling intergender?
I just think it's another wrestler across from me. I don't hold anyone to a specific standard or anything. Mm-hmm. I go in there, whoever it is, kicking. Mm-hmm. So.
Is it any more difficult to wrestle someone bigger than you or smaller?
I think both present a unique challenge, but I love the challenge. I love going into a wrestling match, having to think of different ways and go against my opponent and their strengths. So either smaller or bigger or smaller, I welcome the challenge. But it's different.
On days that you're gonna be wrestling, do you wake up in the morning and like, oh, I can't wait for tonight, or like it's like, oh, I gotta work tonight?
I get very excited. I'm very much one of those people who are nervous up until the time, like getting there and getting ready. I'm very jittery, ready to go, and as soon as I turn, it's over. Wow,
and. So the first time you ever went out, did you have like extreme anxiety?
Oh, yes.
yeah, okay. So have you ever watched your first match back?
I have many, many times.
Okay. For fun or to watch it critically?
Just to remind myself how far I've come in a short period of time. And it's against one of my very close friends, VSK.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he was my first match. And I look back on that and I just remind myself like where I've come from and how he helped me get there. It's a growing process.
Do you ever like take a moment and say to yourself, oh man, I'm an actual pro wrestler?
Yes, there are many times where I'm running around and I have a moment to stop and think. And I'm like, wow, I'm really living a dream that I had as a child. And I don't think a lot of people can say that. So
not at all. It's very unique, actually. Like, I want to grow up to be a pro basketball player, or I want to go, things that seem like superhero-esque, that you get to feel. Let's go back to little Aaron. Hey, okay, hon, I'm sorry. This is the last unrelated wrestling question. Do you, wait, what was it? I forget. It'll come back. So I remember. Do you remember the day you were born? I ask everybody this, and one time someone said yes.
Do I remember the day I was born?
Yeah. I don't know how this one person, and they were very like descriptive of it, but I don't think that's possible. Maybe he's from another planet. I didn't get into that.
I would love to know.
I just assumed he was from Earth. So you grew up on Long Island?
Yes, I did.
And did you have like a big family out that way?
We have a big family, but we're very scattered all over the place, all over the world, really.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Do you go visit the other countries to see your relatives, or is it they come?
They usually come here.
Mm-hmm. When was the last time you were on a vacation?
Oh my God. What counts as a vacation?
Okay, what counts as a vacation is at least once a day you could go sit out in the sun for an hour in like a chair or a lounge or something.
Maybe recently, like a couple months ago, me and a couple of my friends just went to Mystic.
Oh.
For a birthday celebration. We just got a nice house and just relaxed.
Yeah, that absolutely counts. That absolutely counts. All right, I don't know why that popped in my head. So as a child, what was your personality like?
Loud.
Okay.
Very boisterous and playful. I very much walked to the beat of my own drum. My mom always said I was special, different. So I very much was a special and different kind of child.
Did you know what that meant at the time when she told you that?
Kind of. I knew I was different from every kid. I had a very healthy obsession with sparkles and glitter and wrestling. So
was your mom constantly like trying to get glitter off of stuff?
I think she found it very entertaining.
Okay. It was just part of the thing.
Yeah, she just knew her son was going to be something interesting.
And so you had the performance bug in you from a very young age?
Yeah, I was doing theater and dance and singing since I was younger.
What kind of dance do you do?
I did 1 year of ballet because I hated it. And then hip hop and jazz and tap and lyrical and contemporary. Just all that dance.
I asked that because my wife is rehearsing right now. She's a dancer, and that's why I'm in Champaign. She teaches for the university here. So I always like when I hear dance, I'm like, oh, okay, here's something I can talk to my wife about later.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know. So did you have siblings?
I do. I had 2 siblings.
And were you guys opposite? Were you the three of you opposites of each other?
I would say because of the age range, my 6 or so years older than me.
Okay.
So we were very different until we obviously grew up. But me and my sister were pretty close from the jump.
Okay.
Probably because we like the same stuff.
And in high school, did you do any, athletics at all?
Yes. On top of being a dancer, I was a track runner.
Oh, cool. So was I. What events did you do?
I did the 4x8. I did the high jump. I did the long jump. I did the 400 hurdle leap.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. Did you have a job in high school at all?
I did. I was a waiter.
Oh my God. Where was your first waiter job?
My first waiter job was at a little place called Friendly's.
Okay.
And they had been around since 1923.
Oh my God. Was it like an old diner-ish type place?
Kind of. They were known for their ice cream.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and so that kind of funded my life from high school on until after college.
And did friends come in to visit you while you were working?
Yes, which was fun, but also very I'm at work. I can't talk to you. I'm going to get in trouble.
I don't know. I can say this. This was just 30 years ago or 25 years ago. But I used to work at Subway when I was in high school. And my friends would come in and they'd be like, can you make me a turkey sandwich? And then put these mushrooms in it, psychedelic mushrooms.
Yeah.
Fine. So they'd eat and just trip in the corner at a booth, until I finished my shift and I drive them all home. It was great. I didn't mind. Would people in high school be shocked that you're a pro wrestler? People that you don't keep in touch with but knew you?
Maybe. I feel like everyone really knew I had a performance bug, and then everyone really knew I loved wrestling. It was all I ever talked about. So they might be somewhat surprised, but I don't think they'll be too surprised.
Okay, they would be shocked. So how did you get exposed to wrestling to begin with?
I have a very vivid memory from when I was younger, probably 6. Or 7. I was flipping through the TV, and I remember there was a segment on SmackDown with Vince and Mr. America, who was Hulk Hogan.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I remember I was like, whoa, what is this? And then my mom walked in. She's like, I don't want you watching that. And I remember just after that, every week at that same time, I would try and find that channel. And then I slowly realized like it started at this time. And I think this was when SmackDown was on Thursdays.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That would make sense.
Because this was like early 2000s. I was probably like 2002. So I don't know if it was on Fridays yet, but I remember I would just constantly try, and then I found it, and I was like, oh, it starts at this time, and then I realized there was a Monday Night Raw, and I was like, whoa, there's two?
There's two wrestling shows.
There's two wrestling shows, and I remember just from then, it would just carried on.
What about video games?
The first video game I ever played was SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, and it was my uncle had it, and I saw him playing, like the Hell in a Cell match, and I was like, what's that? And then it just, right from there, it just started.
Did you ever make yourself? Like,
of course.
Yeah, okay. Have you done that in any of like the 2K, versions that have come out? Oh, nice. I'm glad that you said that. Because I've asked people and they say, no. That would be the first thing I did when I opened the box and put that game in.
Of course. Listen, I love wrestling. It runs deep for me. When I got those games, the first thing, I didn't have the name Aaron Rourke, but
yeah.
I did make myself, and it looked drastically different than to say, but of course I made myself. Who wouldn't?
Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm glad you were so honest about that. So at what point do you start thinking, okay, you're in high school, I'm going to go to college? Was that your focus before becoming?
No, I wanted to be a wrestler right out the gate.
Okay.
I graduated, I want to be a wrestler. And my mom was like, I get it, but if you get injured and you no longer can do it, I want you to have something to fall back on. So I went, got a degree. And then as soon as I graduated, I was right at wrestling school.
Did you had everything in place for like when you graduated, you had a trainer or a place to get trained already locked in?
The day I graduated, I started looking up wrestling schools. And then I was like, oh, here's one 7 minutes from my house at the time. So
wow. Did you know that there was even one that was that close?
No, I had done some research and some of them were like towards the city or like in other states. And I was like, all right, well, this is going to be hard. Like this is going to be a lot of traveling, but it's what I want to do.
Sure.
Then I saw Create a Pro was 7 minutes from my house.
That's amazing. When did your mom, just to jump back for a second, I just remember, when did your mom stop policing you watching wrestling?
Probably shortly after. She kept seeing me watch it and just that she was never going to win that battle.
Totally, she just gave up.
So she was like, whatever.
And now, a brief commercial break.
This is What Do You Say with DJ.
And now back to our featured presentation.
So you find Create a Pro, and it's the night before your first day of training. Do you feel that you're physically ready, and were you able to sleep that night?
Didn't sleep that night.
Okay.
Foolishly, I thought I was ready. But foolishly.
Is there anyone who is?
No, I don't think the best athletes are ready. Wrestling is such a different kind of sport. and it demands a lot from you physically and mentally, but physically for sure. So I think it's funny when anyone thinks that they can just step into a ring easily and think it'll be a cakewalk.
What's the shortest amount of training time you've seen someone have before their first match?
Me.
Oh, okay. Really? Okay, so all right, let me back up. So morning of, and you're driving there, or someone's driving you there, you have a lot of anxiety?
Yes, because to me, this is the beginning of the rest of my life. I'm like, but I want to do forever. So this is the first step, and you just got to get there and do it. So I remember just going there and standing outside the door and being like, all right, time, we're going to do this.
Yeah. Had you ever been in a wrestling ring before?
Never.
Okay. So you get yourself to go inside. Are you training with a group of people for the first time, or is it just you're with a bunch of different people?
It wasn't my first time like training as a group, because obviously for track sports, you train with other people and you run with other people, but to walk into there and see people who are already experienced and doing it what you want to do, you get intimidated, and you're the new kid, so it's a little intimidating. But no one was mean to me or anything. It was just all in my head, like, oh my god, I'm the first day kid, I don't know how to do anything, I don't know.
Before thinking like, oh, all these people had a first day, like everyone had to have that first day. And then so did you find that, and now it makes sense, like after watching you wrestle and move, did you find your dance experience was really helpful for your footwork?
Yes, very much so. And my track experience too, because it's very footwork heavy, and it's balls of your feet, and it's quick movements and pivots and just maintaining body control. And I mean, I guess that did help me. I think it did give me a leg up when learning training and stuff, because I had been used to really learning how to control my body and work with it and move with it.
Yeah, because now it makes sense, because you move really well in the ring, and now that I know about the track and the dance background, that makes a lot of sense to me. What's the first thing they have you do?
I think it's just learning how to roll and just move around, It's so, when you start, it's a basic line, but even the rolls and just moving and walking and getting used to the ring is such like a whirlwind.
Oh, I imagine. Is there a certain point where you feel comfortable in the ring?
Probably about a year or so in.
Okay.
I started to really just like get comfortable, because that first year was crazy, and there was just a lot of like training and getting used to like the training aspect, the working out aspect, the diet aspect, and just how much it takes from your life, and how much it affects your life, and how much it takes up a lot in your life.
So is it difficult to maintain relationships? And I'm not talking about like a boyfriend or girlfriend, like even like with your parents or your siblings or your family and friends. Is it hard to make time for that?
Yes, I think especially as you become more successful, it's hard. But, I think if you have good friends and good family, they understand. And if you explain to them, like I've explained to my family and friends, like, this is going to take up a lot of my time, and you might not see me. I might not be at important events, but like, I just want you to know I love you and care about you. This is what I need to do.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully by the time you're like 40, you don't have to work anymore. You'll have plenty of time for them.
I want to work forever.
You want to work forever?
I want to be in that ring until I literally have to be peeled off the mat.
Has your mom ever seen you wrestle in person?
Yes.
And what was her reaction the first time she saw you wrestle?
She likes to claim that she doesn't like to watch me wrestle, but when I'm there and I see her in the audience, she's going nuts.
Okay.
She's a true fan. She's screaming and hollering, and every time I hit the mat, she's like, oh my God. But because that's her son. But But she gets she's my biggest fan.
And has she like said to you maybe I'm really proud of you?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. So you get that's nice to hear from a mother all the time.
she's like my number one supporter. I probably would not be this far or like much confidence if it wasn't for her just telling me, like, you know who you are, you know how good you are, just keep going. She's always had my back, and I'm very happy about that.
Did you ever get down, or pro wrestlers in general, or their training, do you ever get down like on yourself or question things?
Oh yeah, I think every wrestler goes through periods where they get down on themselves and they're like, I'm not doing well, or I'm not training hard enough, or I'm not excelling. But that's the thing about wrestling. You have good days and bad days, and wrestling's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and you're gonna have days where you're down, or you feel like you're not progressing, or you're not doing enough, and then you're riding high. So
is there like pressure getting booked at places, or competing with like your friends who are pro wrestlers who are trying to get spots on different shows and stuff? Is that stressful, or is there jealousy at all ever?
Not that I know of. At CAP, we have such a healthy environment where everyone is like a family, and we all work together. Then everyone succeeds, and I think that's what keeps us humble and cool. And of course, healthy competition is always welcome. Sure. The wrestling business is competitive, but at least in my experience, and with that Creative Pro, there's been none of like backstabbing or anything like that.
Oh, that's great. So it's like a safe place for you to go. And I hear this like, paying dues. What is paying dues in your opinion when you're coming up?
To me, it's putting in the work that is demanded of you and some.
Okay.
I think for me, at least, putting in dues is working hard and this is in my opinion, working hard, putting 110% and 150% into the business and to wrestling. You want to do this full time, you have to put everything into it. You can't half-ass this.
That makes sense. Okay, I'm sorry that I keep jumping.
It's all right.
At what points in your training, or maybe this happened when you were a little kid, are you starting to think about your character?
Well, I had a very different image of the persona of who I would be. When I started training, I had an idea, and I tell people now, don't get so comfortable hanging on to that idea of what you think you should be, because sometimes it's not what you're gonna be.
Sure.
That doesn't mean, try and make it work. Like, make it work, put effort into it, see what happens, but don't close off the idea to other avenues, because Aaron Rourke just kind of naturally progressed and became realer and realer and became more natural, because I guess I'm just naturally an asshole.
Yeah, it really comes off that way.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking, of course.
But, and then just all the jewels and like all the eccentricity, it just comes naturally. And I think just working through that and trying to find my path, like it just happens.
And would you say it's like an amazing creative outlet for you besides the physicality?
Yeah, I think what I love most, not most, but I love about wrestling is not only the sport and combat and wrestling aspect, but who you are and how you present yourself. And I feel like that's where you really see who Aaron Rourke is. And I feel like I'm doing something that a lot of other wrestlers maybe wouldn't do because of whatever reasons. Sure. I'm openly flamboyant. I'm openly got face paint and jewels and all that. If you're going to be that kind of guy, you got to go all the way. And I have no problem being that extra kind of guy.
Now, does it bother you if that drives people crazy?
No, I think it's very fun. And I think
Okay.
I live for people to boo me, hate on me, make comments or be like, I don't understand why he wears that or does that. I live for that.
Did you ever take it personally? Like hearing stuff from the crowd, like, that may have been inappropriate?
Sure. There was a couple times early on where it bothered me if someone said something derogatory about my sexuality.
Sure.
But you learn that they're saying that about the character, and I always say, if I let it affect me, then they're winning.
Oh, that's a good attitude.
It is what it is. It comes with the territory. Not that I'm saying it's acceptable and okay, no one should ever say that or say that
sure.
to people in the LGBTQIA plus community,
Mm-hmm.
but you kind of just say, if they're gonna say that, then that's them.
Yeah, they have to live with their being miserable in their lives. Okay, not saying you've ever experienced it, more like if you've heard this. Are there bad promoters to work for?
In my opinion, in the promotions I've worked for, I've never come across a bad promoter.
Okay, but have you heard stories of like, oh my God, you can't believe what this guy did to me?
I'm sure a story or two has come and gone.
Yeah.
The thing about me is I'm very much a forward, like blinders, keep on moving.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta keep moving. I can't focus about anything else until it directly affects me. Maybe that's a crappy way of looking at things, but it's what keeps me going. It's just any promoter I've worked for, they've been nothing but lovely and respectful. And, I just got to keep moving. So even if there are some bad ones, I cross them and I wouldn't let them affect me. I'd be like, all right, I got a job to do. I'm going to go do my job. And then,
you can't do your job if you're like, keep getting stuck on things that you're hearing or people are saying. AEW Dark. I won't make you talk about this a lot because I'm sure you've had to talk about this a ton. And when I say I don't care about how the match went or any of that stuff, I do care, but I was more interested in again the on the way there for the first time, like what you're feeling like. Because I would be like sick to my stomach. Did you have that when you were going to the venue to wrestle?
Yes. So I remember clearly because I was in the airport and I was it kept sinking in more and more and more as I got there. And once I got there, it was really like a dream. Mm-hmm. It was an unbelievable experience. And it gives me goosebumps kind of talking about it because it was the first time I'd ever done something like that.
Yeah.
And that's so early in my career. Like I've only been doing this for 3 years.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So to get that opportunity on that platform and just to be there and have like a lot of my friends there, like, it was so cool. But I was wrecked the entire day. I was so nervous, shaking the entire time.
And on the flight home, were you the complete opposite, just like really hyped and like, wow, I can't believe I just did this?
I was tired, but very like, wow, like what a thing to say, like what a thing to put on my wrestling resume
even if that's the only thing you ever put on your wrestling resume. Again, there's a percentage of people who have done or will ever do that.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I think about whenever we were talking before when wrestlers feel down or feel like they have made progress. I say, look at all I've done so far, and I'm just so grateful and thankful that I had these opportunities, got these opportunities, made the most of them, and that's what keeps me going because I want.
Yeah, and that's what you're building off of that, performance or being on that show. That's pretty good building block to have, I suppose, in your career. Did any of the wrestlers or people backstage give you like feedback or anything? Thank you for coming to, for flying down.
Yeah, everyone there is very respectable and very nice. And I think that's what's great about that place, at least for me, not getting in the middle of that.
Sure.
But when I went there, everyone was very sweet. And if you asked for feedback, they give it to you. And it was just a very nice, chill environment with a lot of nice, helpful people who understood where you were and who you are and like that you might be nervous and that you might want feedback. So they were very happy to give it to you.
That's great. Now, did you? How long after your match were you able to see your match?
I think. Now, I probably can't speak on it, but I will say I saw it sometime later.
Okay.
And I watched it with my family.
Mm-hmm.
That was a surreal experience.
I imagine that's good. I imagine it to be like how on draft day, like in NBA or in NFL, like the whole family gets together around the TV and then go nuts when they, the person gets drafted.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And it was just to see myself and then to be there with my family who was watching it. It was surreal.
Just that part is an amazing memory that you got to watch it with your family. Like,
yes.
That's tremendous. All right. I have a ton of more questions, but we're going to have to save them for part 2 because I don't know if you hear this. I hear my son screaming in the background. But I'm imagining he's screaming at the Xbox, but who knows? Can I ask you 5 non-wrestling related yes or no questions?
Absolutely.
And you don't have to provide details or anything. Yes or no, it's fine. It's acceptable. First one, can you swallow pills, like medicine, Tylenol, all that stuff without water?
No.
Okay. Have you ever been captured by a hostile Middle Eastern terrorist organization to build them weapons, but you actually build yourself a metal suit and escape their captivity?
Maybe once in a dream, but in real life, no.
No, real life. All right, perfect. Good answer. For $13,000, would you post the following every week on your social media pages for a year? Man, I'd love to see what's under the Statue of Liberty's dress.
No, because I wouldn't.
Okay. Is there? Oh, let me follow that up. Would there be a price where you would do something like that?
Not unless I get consent from her first.
Got it. Okay, so there's a possibility. Is there anyone you know that thinks you are gross?
Yes.
Okay. And then finally, you're 4 for 4 so far. Do you believe the United States actually landed on the moon? Because my wife doesn't.
I believe so, but if they didn't, that's quite a ruse.
Yeah. She's Russian, so she believes that the United States never... And she probably believes the Earth is flat, but I've never asked her that because I'm scared of the answer I'll get. Erin, thank you so much for taking this time on a Friday afternoon. I really appreciate you making the time for me today. Where are you wrestling next?
You can catch me at Chaotic, Beyond Wrestling, July 1st. I will be wrestling there, and pretty much through the whole month of July, you can catch me on shows like Beyond, Chaotic, WrestlePro, all good stuff.
Do you have IWTV?
I do.
It's awesome.
It's great.
I love it. There's always something I've never seen before on,
Yeah.
It's such a huge library. All right. Well, I will certainly be following you on IWTV. I love Beyond's product. Is it cool to have like episodic TV like that you're on?
Yes. It's very much one of those things where I'm like, wow.
Yeah. That's amazing. And people cheer you. I would, again, back to my wife. I always tell her, God, you have people applaud for you. I've never had that. It must be just like an amazing feeling.
There is no feeling like having a crowd react to you, whether good or bad. There's no other feeling.
Ugh, I imagine. I have to do something drastic to get a reaction out of people, but I haven't put my finger on that yet. Erin, you take care. Thank you again. Have an awesome weekend, and I'll certainly be following you and hope to have you on again.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor and pleasure to be on. Thank you.
I feel the same. Take care.